name is Miriam Naiman, a senior advisor in the Nefesh B'Nefesh Answers and Advocacy Department. I am joined not only by our guest speaker this evening, but by two of my coworkers, Tzippi Oppenheimer and Daniel Gold, who will be assisting on what we call the back end, answering any questions that you wish to put into the Q&A. Any discussion will go into the chat. What does discussion mean? Discussion means our speaker tonight, Dina Stone Herman, asks, how you feeling today, 1 to 10? And she asked for those answers, and I hope that you'll all feel comfortable to participate, and that is something that can go in the chat so that we can feel that this is somewhat interactive, even though we're a large group of people. Tonight's event is being recorded and will be put onto YouTube within the next 24 hours. Any links that are shared tonight will also be made available to you, so no need to worry about scribbling down or anything like that. And although we all know that we are in a ceasefire, whatever that is meant to be, should there be some type of warning, should there be a siren, we will stop. Everybody should find a safe place. We're going to leave the webinar open, and then we will resume as you come back to the next place from where we were. I'm getting a message now from Pikud HaOref with adjusted guidelines. I just can't wait to see what those are going to be for all of us. In the meantime, I would like to take a moment to introduce our speaker, Dina Stone Herman, who is a trauma specialist. And she has done a tremendous amount for our Olim over the past year and a half since the beginning of the war. And I know that everybody this evening will walk away with much more in their pockets than they came with in terms of emotional health and some tools on how to move forward. Thank you so much, Dina.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Thank you for making this night possible. And Tzippi and Daniel and Rena, everybody, thank you. Thank you all for coming. My name is Dina Stone Herman. I'm a therapist specializing in trauma and resilience. I work in Jerusalem and I work online from many places. I made Aliyah 25 years ago with my family. And my first morning waking up in Israel was the beginning of the Second Intifada. It was very, yeah. And I raised my four boys here. They're all soldiers and miluimnikim. And the best thing I ever did in my life was to make Aliyah. I know some of you are brand new to this amazing place, and which is so full of joy and so full of strong and resilient people. And I know some of you are old timers, so I hope that I can address the different issues that are present for all of us, and really for all Am Yisrael. There isn't really such a difference. A word about the webinar. Like Miriam said, I might ask you some questions, and please respond in the chat if you will. I would love to hear your voices. Secondly, I'll try to answer any questions you might have at the end, and feel free to write those questions as well. And finally, the title of this webinar is about finding resilience in community, which has been proven to be true in scientific research and is so much what this country is about. And I think it's something each of us feels instinctively as well. And I want you to know that the first part of what I share with you tonight is really about the individual. And you're going to think that I didn't read the title correctly, but I did. Am I dodging the point? No, I am not. I'll certainly share my thoughts about community with you, and community is a huge part of everything we do in Israel, in Eretz Yisrael. And in addition, I want you to know that there's a parallel process, because I want all of you who are here with me now to not only take in some of the exercises and practices of finding resilience and learning how to climb down out of the tree after we've scampered up to avoid being hurt, but that you become a community of healers yourself. That something about our being together today should enable us to become a community of people who are sensitized to the needs of other people around us. In just like in the airplane, though, how the stewardesses, tell you when the mask drops down, you have to put your own mask on first, and then you can put the mask on other people or help somebody else. So I'm getting to the point of community, but I have to talk about the individual first because we have to kind of know ourselves and be sensitive to ourselves before we can then help others. Um, one question I want to ask you right now that I will come back to at the end of the webinar is this, and please write your answers in the chat. The question is, how do you know, or how will you know when you've become an Israeli? Okay? If you're here a long time, then I'll ask it differently. How did you know when you became Israeli? Okay? And it can be pithy, it can be short, it can be a little anecdotal. Take a minute and write in the chat, how will you know when you've become an Israeli? Or how did you know when you became one? And I'll give you a minute to write. Okay, so while you're writing, or if you finished, um, the thing I want to talk about, and I mean, we are in the middle of a war for 2 years, and now the Iran war seems to be, I please God, a ceasefire. Oh, I'm getting so, oh, I love this. Oh, I love this. Boy, I'm so excited. Miriam, will I be able to see these at the end of the webinar also?
I think Rena can,
We can export the chat.
yeah.
Okay.
Give it to you.
But if you want to read some of them out loud, Dina, they're great.
I'm hoping to come to that after a little bit, after a while. I'll come back to that because they are great. I love it. I identify with the ones I've read so far for sure. I mean, oh my God. Okay, so here's what I want to say. You can't deny, I mean, you can, there are people who do, but we are in the middle of a war. The Iranian war seems to have a ceasefire, please God, but the Gaza war is still going, and I mean, we've been living with this for a really long time. So I want to talk about briefly the physiology of trauma and anxiety because our bodies were made for health and our bodies are made to survive. Oh, Nechama. Oh, this is so good. Okay. I'm reading some of these. So the trauma has been defined by Freud and by Judith Herman and by Peter Levine and by Danny Brahm, who works here at the first trauma center in the world, I think, called Métis, as the feeling of complete overwhelm, where everything you knew before completely becomes inappropriate, dysfunctional, and you perceive a threat or you are being threatened and you feel even to the point of death. Everything is out of control for you. And when we feel this intense terror, something amazing happens to our bodies. Our sympathetic nervous system completely takes over. That means the amygdala, the car alarm in our brain, the reptilian part of our brain just starts screaming, alarm, 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 like a car alarm that's on all night. And the rest of the brain is shut down completely, completely. Your heart rate goes up, your mouth gets dry, your pupils become small, and your bladder releases, and everything is made for immediate action. There is no thinking part of your brain. The prefrontal cortex, executive function, is sleeping. There is no more. All you know is you somehow, the lion chased you and you're up a tree and you don't even know how you got there. Your baby was under a car and somehow you lifted it off the baby. You don't know how. And this superhuman strength and superhuman speed fills you. And thank God it does, because that's how we save ourselves. We are built for survival. In the wild, as Peter Levine has documented, animals, like humans, will fight or flee or freeze to save themselves. And after they've saved themselves, perhaps they froze and played dead and ran away from their predator. Peter Levine noticed, and he is the founder of somatic experiencing, which is a process I use for helping people who have survived difficult situations to heal. That he noticed that the animal will shake and shake and shake for many, many minutes, just tremor and tremor and tremor. It's kind of uncomfortable almost to watch. But eventually, the animal resets its nervous system and becomes calm again, just becomes calm and goes off. And the animal doesn't have any PTSD, and the animal doesn't have bad memories of that place, and the animal doesn't feel guilty for not doing more. So the animal system automatically resets. For human beings, where trauma is really a kind of a new science, relatively new science, we need to learn how to come down out of the tree. We need to learn how to reset our nervous system. And we need to learn all the different ways that we talk to ourselves about what we did during the event, so that we don't carry things forward, because PTSD is really about the past controlling your present. The past controlling your present. You still feel you're there. You're still up a tree. So even years later, you don't feel calm. You still feel vigilant or hyper aroused, looking for where the danger could be, because you experienced the danger once and that was enough. So what I want to go through today with you is some of the ways that we can reset our nervous systems so that we can help other people when we know that they are also in need of talking down out of the tree. And sometimes it can be people you live with. Sometimes you might notice your kids are acting particularly angry or wild, and you're wondering what is going on. And now you will know several ways to help them, to be with them, to share with them. And I'm going to begin by giving you the five. There are many, many ways to reset your nervous system. I thought I would begin with 5 categories and then show you exercises for each one. And I will get to the community part of this. Yes, I will. Okay. So right now, before I tell you the 5 categories I just kind of randomly chose, but they're all significant. Could you please just do a little assessment for yourself and see, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is the most anxious you could feel. 10 is very, very nervous and fearful and really panicky. To 1, which is calm and present and not worried and breathing very casually, normally. Okay, just write in the chat, please, where you are on a scale of 1 to 10. And then now I know they pop up for me, so I'm going to take a look. Okay, good. I'm looking. Okay. Um, okay. Good. So keep your numbers in your mind because I'm going to come back to those too. And I will ask about those again later. So here are the five categories that I'm sharing with you today. First is the brain. Okay, that little turn off valve is called the insula that cuts the amygdala off from the rest of the brain when there's an emergency, when there's threat, when there's danger, when there's terror. Um, we need to get back online. So one is the brain, and it involves bringing that prefrontal cortex back online. Also, it involves using bilateral stimulation. So for those of you who've experienced EMDR, I practice EMDR also. And for those of you who are therapists who use EMDR, that's bilateral stimulation. It uses both sides of the brain. And by using both sides of the brain, now we have prefrontal cortex back online and the car alarm turns off. The car alarm turning off means we're regulating our emotions again. We're coming back to a place where we're not hyper aroused. We're not up a tree. Now we're climbing down out of the tree. The second is physical work, not only physical sensations, but movement. And there are things we can do in movement that bring our bodies back online. One thing I didn't mention yet is that when we're panicking, and if any of you have ever had a panic attack or even, God forbid, a car accident or really a traumatic experience, you might remember that you couldn't feel your arms, you couldn't feel your legs, someone said to you, sit down, or you wouldn't have done it by yourself. You're kind of in shock, and when you're in shock, again, a normal reaction to serious threat. You don't feel your body. So now we're going to bring the brain back online and we're going to bring the body back online. The third thing we do is we look at the part of our brain that becomes the observer. Okay, the observer. A lot of people are afraid to meditate or don't like meditation, which I totally get. But here you have an opportunity, especially in this circumstance, to just observe, even if you are really frightened or really disconnected in other ways. One way to bring yourself back to a calmer place where you have clarity of thought and you can start to make decisions again and feel your body is to become an observer. Just being able to say to yourself, oh, wow, my heart is pounding. Oh, my breathing is really shallow. I notice that my shoulders are very, very tense. Oh, my thoughts are racing. Being able to bring your awareness to your body and to your thoughts, again, it stimulates hormones that calm you and that increase clarity of thinking so that you are, again, climbing out of the tree. The observer, all it takes to be the observer is to notice your thoughts like a leaf in the stream. Okay, it's like a branch going by. And just to notice, oh, yeah, I just had a thought that was like about catastrophe. I just had the scariest thought. Oh, yeah, that's my grocery list. Yeah, I see. Let it go. They come and go. Thoughts come and go. They're not kadosh at all. They come, they go, and for you to just notice them, to be the observer, and to say, oh, yeah, there goes a scary one. Oh, that's a memory. Yeah, that was a good memory. Let it go. Just they come, they go. Becoming the observer, again, it stimulates part of your brain that regulates emotion. It brings your whole brain back online so that the amygdala can just rest. You don't need the amygdala anymore. It's the kind of alarm that until you turn it off, it goes and goes and goes, and it can keep you up all night. Finally, not finally, but the next one I get to is social connection, and that's the one that's the title of my webinar. Social connection activates oxytocin, dopamine, and endorphins. And those are all the feel-good hormones and neurotransmitters. Those are all the feel-good when a woman breastfeeds her baby. Oxytocin is stimulated and floods her system. So the bonding happens. Another thing that happens with social connection is that feeling of belonging, which is a basic human need. Belonging, that's what we need. That's what we crave. It's not just because we like it. We need it. So being in social connection, also research shows we live longer when we're in social connection. I think maybe a lot of you have read about that before, because that's been in lots of newspapers. Okay. Final category is to be proactive. For those of you who are prone to depression, this is the vaccine against some kinds of depression. Especially, I'm thinking of depression that comes after a significant incident. To be proactive, to be the leader, to be a volunteer, to see with your own eyes that what you do helps others and changes the lives of others, that is another category of healing and helping, and how social connection. I might be helping someone else, but the act of helping helps me. So we're in now a big chain. Okay. So you did the numbers from 1 to 10. You told me how relaxed or how calm or how upset you are or how nervous. I mean, who wouldn't be? Look at where we live. Here are some exercises that I hope you'll try along with me right now, and they can become practice for you, because like so many things that are long-lasting and health-giving, they need to be practiced every day, or sometimes 3 times a day, depending on the situation we live in and what the news is saying. Okay, so here's the first one. This is connected to bringing the brain back online. If you've been with me before, you know about the butterfly hug. I'm part of a team of people doing somatic experiencing who are teaching the Army, teachers, doctors, everyone in Israel, I think knows about this butterfly hug, but if you don't, and if you just got here, for goodness sake, so there's 2 ways to do it. It's bilateral stimulation. And what you do is link your thumbs, or at least this is one way to do it. I'll show you the other way. And then you tap right and left. That's the bilateral part. And you do it 25 times. And while you're doing it, you might notice that your breath changes. Might not, but it might. 25 times. I always I breathe deeply when I'm like such a poster child for this stuff. Yeah. Okay. So you've done 25 of these. You can also do it this way, where you really give yourself a hug. If you've had a really hard day, or a day like this morning, get in the mamad, get out of the mamad, go to the miklat, get out of the miklat 5 times. You might want to hug yourself and do the pat, the tap this way 25 times. Sometimes I add, I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. One thing about PTSD is that you weren't safe. and the alarm is still going, and you think you're not safe, but you are now. You are now. So there's a butterfly hug, butterfly tap. Notice if your breath changed. You can write me a quick yes or no in the chat so I can see, did your breath change while you were doing it? And if it didn't, it doesn't matter. Like these are tools for you to use. And if it doesn't work, I've got more for you. I have other things for you to try. The next exercise that I want to share with you has been also is very helpful, particularly if someone is in shock. If somebody has just had a hard event, you might ask them. I've used this with a child, for example, who broke her nose. And at a certain point, I could hear that there was a difference in the cry. She wasn't crying in pain anymore. She was actually just crying out of fear, just. And I asked her to count something for me. I made a tower out of paper cups. It's all I had. And so she counted them. By the time she was done counting them, she was done crying. It was like enough to to settle her system. The alarm went off, that's all. So what you do is you stand. I'll stay with my camera right now, but you stand up and you feel the floor beneath you. You press your feet into the floor, and then you look around your space, and you can do a lot of different kinds of counting. You can count all the blue objects in your line of sight. You can count 5 blue things, 4 soft things. Go ahead and try it now. 5 blue things. Find 5 blue things in your line of sight. Can you find 4 soft things? Can you find 3 shiny things? Can you find 2 smells? Are there 2 smells that you're aware of, or 2 sounds? And can you find 1 black line? So this is another way you can use counting. And if it isn't enough for a person that you're with or for yourself, so you can do 10, 9, 8, or you can just do 6 fuzzy things, 6 blue things, 6 brown. The point is counting very much uses 2 parts of your brain, the working memory. When you're using the working memory, like when I ask you to tap, that's also using the working memory. When I ask you to count, you're also using the working memory. You can't attach that emotional panic to whatever you're doing. So it separates that emotional panic, and you're helped very much by your prefrontal cortex by being able to count and get your mind, as we used to say, or put your mind on other things, but that's so trivial sounding, even though it might be what we're doing. So tachlis, this is what we're doing. Another way to climb out of the tree or help someone else climb out of down out of the panic tree is to put one hand on your chest. This is part of the emotion aid that Gina Ross does again. And one hand on your stomach, and just breathe into your hands. You can imagine your hands expanding with every breath. And be very, very compassionate with yourself if it's hard to breathe. In all of these exercises, you don't want to criticize yourself. You don't want to judge. You want, if that judgment voice comes up, bring in the observer. Oh, that's a judgment. Let it go. Because you don't need it. It's not going to help. You're doing it perfectly, whatever you're doing. Even if you're just noticing, I can't breathe very well. Okay, so it's okay. You're not breathing. Just think of filling the hands and see what happens. The next exercise is about observation. Now you're bringing in the real observer, even though I've already asked you to bring in the observer, because it really is part of how we heal. So if you again, if you become aware, can you take a minute with me right now just to observe your breath? Even if it feels a little scary, just as an experiment. And I can't see you, so I'm not watching or anything. But what happens if you just observe your breath and then just notice like a thought that comes along, like a leaf in the stream or a piece of wood floating down the stream? So I'll be quiet for 60 seconds and let's see what happens. Did you notice a change in breathing? Did you notice your thoughts? Did you notice something funny go through your mind? Or something scary? Or a memory? Or a judgment? Did you notice anything about your body? Did that become figural for anyone? You can write me in the chat. I'd like to see. You're all doing great. I'm getting really nice chats. So when when you feel that you yourself need to come back to earth or you were really scared, I find that being a parent is even harder than just taking care of yourself, because sometimes you try to be braver in front of your kids or protect them, or there's just a lot of layers that go on when you're parenting in extreme situations. So be very, very compassionate to yourself, and you can do these together. And we're coming to that social connection, doing them together as a family, teaching them to your children and grandchildren, helping your neighbors. There's a lot of good stuff that comes from sharing. I want to talk about that power of social connection again. I'm not going to ask you to do this, but hugging is really good for us. If you can hug, and I want to put a certain qualifier on this though. Hugging is great, and I hug your dog, hug your children, hug your partner, hug your sister, hug whoever. But as an experiment, under duress, or just for fun, hug until both of you experience a deep sigh. Okay? So instead of a 3-second hug or a 5-second hug each other until you both experience a deep, like that. Those kinds of organic sighs or breathing tells you that you've reset your nervous system so that you're ready for another day. You're ready for whatever comes. And not only that, but you'll have clarity to make decisions, to think things through, to not feel too impulsive or frozen. Because the fight or flight response involves a lot of action, and the frozen response is sometimes harder to identify. I think those of us who sometimes feel frozen, we feel like we're fine. We're fine, we're fine, we're fine. And we're not really fine. But a hug or a tapping might tell you that, oh, you were carrying a lot of tension. You let it go. The other thing about social connection, or another thing about social connection, is is one second. Oh, is that logistically we need each other now more than ever. So when things are stressful and your vacation's been canceled and we don't know when flights are coming back and summer camp isn't happening and school was done 2 weeks ago and reaching out to your neighbors, to the school mates, your class, the parents of your kids' friends, your neighbors, your friends, whoever. Maybe one day you take all the kids and one day they take all the kids, and suddenly you're each of you able to breathe for a day or have a rest or clean the house or whatever it is that makes you feel good. But that kind of social connection also obviously helps. I want to say a word about screen time. I know this is really sensitive because screen time is like cocaine. So stopping, putting your phones down, us and our children, it's like going through withdrawal. And you might notice that your kids get really angry. And I'm just thinking that if you can get everyone to put their phones down for an hour a day at the same time every day or every other day or however it works in your family. Sometimes kids need, and sometimes adults just need to lie on a couch and daydream with no sound, just daydream. It used to be that our parents would send us to our room, as a punishment. And then after a minute or two, it would become so much fun. It was quiet. There were no TVs when I was little. Sorry to say how old I am. It was fun. You had to use your imagination. You could solve problems. Adults solve problems with taking these breaks alone and quiet. At Google, they have nap rooms, places where you can just be quiet because good things come to us in that quiet. Creativity and solutions to problems. So I know it's dangerous to say, but I really wouldn't listen to news very often. Okay, I know that's also an addiction. It's just the news thing, it just gets the amygdala and the adrenaline going again. And then what are you going to do about it? And it is an addiction. You think it will change. The news will change if you look at it long enough, but it doesn't. It changes when they're good and ready to make a change in
Dina,
Iran.
somebody wrote something. I don't know if you're going on to a new concept, and somebody wrote something in the chat interested in ways to focus mindfully when trying to fall asleep at night, when she's challenged to decompress. Also, I see that somebody raised their hand. There's no way on us for us to call on you, so please could you write something either in the Q&A or for discussion purposes in the chat. The person who raised their
Okay. At night is hard, isn't it? So there's a, when we talk about sleep hygiene, we talk about having a routine every night, having the same routine. So your body begins to know dinner's over, dishes clean, bath, book, sleep, whatever it is like that if you have trouble sleeping. Um, the I'm not so good at this either, but I think that's number one is having a kind of a routine. Lights go low half an hour before you want to be sleeping, and maybe this is one of the categories that I didn't, because we have so much going on here, but gratitude. Keeping a gratitude journal by your bed. Research has also found that gratitude stimulates exactly the kinds of peaceful hormones that we want in our bloodstream before we go to sleep. They make us feel happy, they make us feel hopeful. Okay. Um, do I have a question here? Yeah.
we're
Okay.
waiting to see if it gets put either in the Q&A or in the chat.
Okay. I don't see it yet, but I'm interested in seeing it. Okay. And then if anyone else has a question, maybe I should slow down. Miriam, should I slow down?
No, I actually think the pace is perfect.
Okay. Okay. The time, the times without a screen, in addition to being alone and being quiet, can also be the time that you are totally silly with each other, especially if you have children, but even if you don't, where you have a balloon fight, or you play board games, or you play card games, or you tell knock knock jokes, and then you make up knock knock jokes, your own knock knock jokes. Um, these are all ways of building resilience. And finally, my last category comes to being proactive, deciding that you're going to take action in order to do something communal, so that you are becoming a general. Not instead of a helicopter parent, you're the general of the helicopters. So you are taking action, even if it feels funny or strange, or you have a lot of resistance, because it could be that resistance is leftover frozenness from the original event, where you just feel like, if I'm just very still, nothing bad will happen to me. It's a leftover feeling that where the past again is ruling the present. You're safe. You're safe. And I want to say, as an example, that for 9 months before the Gaza war started, I don't know, I know some of you are new, Oline, but anyway, I'll say, for 9 months before the Gaza war started, there were marches in the streets every Saturday night to try to make our country more democratic. And there were a lot of people in many places in all the different cities worried about our democracy. And when the Gaza war started on October 7th, when that horrible massacre took place, the very next morning, by October 8th, this group of people who had organized a nationwide protest movement, immediately, overnight, they became the resource for getting clothes to people who didn't have clothes, hotels, houses. cars, anything people needed who had been survived the Nova massacre, who survived the OTEF, the Gaza border communities being massacred. Immediately overnight, they turned themselves into a resource for anyone who needed help. And that is so admirable. And again, it helps you. When you become that person, you're not helpless. Helplessness leads to depression. Feeling, oh, there's nothing I can do. It's a horrible feeling. It leads to depression. And the antidote is just to do something, to see your hands working for someone else. And you'll come out of that feeling of hopelessness and helplessness. Please, God. Now, I want to go back to what you said about how you know that you're an Israeli or how you knew. Can I go back? Can I see the old stuff? Miriam, can I see the old stuff that
Yeah,
people wrote?
yeah, I'm
Dina,
going
you
up.
should be able to scroll up.
Now
Okay.
you should see from the very
I
top.
don't think, no, I think she needs to scroll herself.
Okay. Oh, okay, cool. So thank you so much. Was that Sippy? Thank you. Okay. Knowing that this is where I belong, good answer. How I knew I was Israeli when I yelled back at a bus driver. And you wrote it took me 7 years, but I will say it only took you 7 years? Wow, you did great. That's fast. When I understood, whoops, and laughed at the gashash, okay, funny, comedy team. When I don't get upset when people cut lines in the supermarket. Oh, yeah, I just go with it. Okay, that's good. When I filled up my car with gas without help. Yes. Not being fazed by sirens, just going on with my life. Oh my God. Okay. Chalutza. When I started to park creatively. Wait a minute, with half-hearted car on the sidewalk and half off. Well, I don't see anything wrong with that. What's wrong with that? You can make U-turns on the sidewalk too. Okay, what else? I felt I became Israeli. Oh, Judith, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry when you lost your grandson. I'm so sorry. I knew I was Israeli when I knew what the siren meant. When most, if not all, my lifelong friends from the country I'm from told me they wanted nothing more to do with me. Great. Well, you know you're in the right place then, Paula. Okay. This is a country. I asked you that question because there is just no other place like this country for social fabric. If you feel weak, this is the place to be. This is the place where you just reach out your hand and 3 grandmothers will fill it with some food for you. They will give you something. They will invite you to their home. This is the place where you can have honest conversations with people. You don't have to pretend like you're happy and everyone's happy and everything's fine. And you can say, wow, last night was really hard. And everyone will embrace you with their words, with their arms, with their food, with their table. I was thinking that how you know you're Israeli is when you're walking down the street and you see a stranger, a woman who's pushing her baby in a stroller, and as you pass her, you say, "Put a sweater on your baby," right? Like every grandmother told me, put on a sweater, put off a sweater, like, wow. And I thought, what are they, family? So yeah, we are family. We're family for each other. You're in the right place. And I invite anyone who wants to write to me after tonight to please do so. Should I put my email in the chat, or will
If you want, you can put it in the chat, but we'll also include it in the recording. There's one additional thing. I don't know if you see that it was typed in the Q&A. Somebody wrote, "It's hard to remain positive knowing that so many are in pain and suffering. How do we cope with these conflicting feelings?"
That is such a good question. First, just noticing that they are conflicting and we're holding all of it, all of it. That's also, you know, if you know the Mishmeret 101, the group of people who wear white and go and just sit with the families who still have family members, loved ones in Gaza being held. You just sit with someone who's in pain, sit next to someone who, just knowing that you're there, be present, being present. You don't have to like labor, and know that everyone is living with these feelings. How many conversations did I have with people about, I'm invited to a wedding, but how do I go to a wedding when there are people in Gaza? And how do I have a Seder at my house when there are people being held? So it's like the history of the Jewish people. It's like Memorial Day and Independence Day, back to back. Like you grieve and then you celebrate, or you make your celebration smaller and you hold people in your heart, but you're also living at the same time. It's complicated, and it's exactly the opposite of black and white. Black and white thinking is the Ayatollah. Black and white thinking is Hamas. You're in or you're out. You're me or you're not. You're nothing. You do what I say or I kill you. So it is complicated and it's so painful. And the only balm that we really have is each other.
Now it's just been a roller coaster. And I think that you really helped to verbalize some of the many emotions that we have been feeling, not only in the past week and a half, and it's hard to believe that it's only been a week and a half, because really we've sort of been feeling this and experiencing this for over 600 days. And I, on behalf of everyone, I just want to thank you for your time, for your insight, for your exercises. I'm going to think of this even on a hard day at the office. And like I said, Dina's information will be included in the recording that will be available to everyone. And this will be on YouTube within the next 48 hours. I would like to thank Daniel and Sippy again, and in particular, Dina, thank you so much. The NBN Answers and Advocacy information was put into the chat at the beginning. Call us at *3680 or email us at answers@nbn.org.il. I wish all of us and all of Am Yisrael a peaceful, calm night. Thank you,
Amen.
everyone. Thank you very much. All the best.